Hello, I'm Camden Hainsworth, and this is Camden Hainsworth ADHD. Sometimes the words we use are not always as accurate as they should be. Today we're going to explore a little bit about why they call what I have attention deficit and why they should actually call it by a different name. Hello and welcome. So glad that you're with me today. So I taught sixth grade for 4 years, loved it, and then went on to teach singing and dance in the elementary schools as well. It's what my profession is, which actually is kind of what got me intrigued about ADD and ADHD, but that's for another time. We used to teach a book and read a book together as a classroom called The Giver. And The Giver is just an awesome, awesome book, but it kind of talks about a society free of emotion and free of, emotional regulation. And something that they use in that community is called precision of language. And so whenever I can't quite find the right way to say something, I always think of The Giver. I always think of that incredible book. It's incredible for many, many other reasons, but that thought of precision of language always sticks with me. So when I learned about attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, I had to really think about, okay, what is this saying? And it's very, very misleading. Um, so we're going to go back to my classroom. I'll give you a little bit of some ideas about what I mean. The children in my classroom were usually 11-year-olds or so, and the biggest um, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder that I saw were usually young boys that couldn't stop talking, that couldn't stop fidgeting, that were in everyone's space or in everyone's desk, that couldn't keep their pockets in their seat, that were up and around, that always had to use the restroom, that always had a pencil that was broken so they could get out of their seat and sharpen it. I mean, the whole spectrum. That's what I thought about. I thought about, okay, these guys cannot pay attention for anything. There's nothing that is interesting enough to get them to sit still and learn. And I remember feeling so bad, because I saw the struggle, especially in the school system that we live. So I incorporated a lot of dance, I incorporated a lot of singing, a lot of movement, a lot of centers, a lot of cycling. I allowed my students during reading time to read all over the classroom as long as they were getting some reading done and they could tell me what they had read. But I honestly saw such a huge difference when a lot of these students of mine also were medicated. Like, ginormous difference. Like, went from failing to succeeding and progressing. And not just that, honestly, their social cues started to heighten. They started to be a little bit more aware of what they were doing. I mean, these were 10 and 11-year-olds, so their maturity was enough most of the time that they could see, people around them getting annoyed if they made noises all day long, or they were tapping their pencils on their desk all the time. It really got on other people's nerves, which, I mean, I understand. um, but being medicated, they became uber aware of that. And so I just had this, I had this wrong thought in my mind of what attention deficit was. And I thought, because of this word deficit, not being enough, not having enough attention on something, that it wasn't able to be like a sustained amount of attention on any specific task. What I have found, since I have been experiencing this myself, is completely the opposite. It's that I have sustained attention on multiple things so heightened that I can't just choose one. For example, going to the gym, getting some exercise. When I have a really good program or a good system of, okay, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday I go to spin class, every Tuesday I go swimming, and every Thursday I do something outside, it makes it a lot easier for me to make a decision because the decision is already made. But it's when I leave it all up to chance that I have my biggest struggles. When I think, oh, it would be nice to go take a walk on the mountain. Oh, it would be nice to go to the gym. Oh, I just love my spin instructors on Thursdays. Maybe I'll go do that. Oh, but it would be so soothing to do some laps in the pool. And I think about all of them all in a snap moment. And then I end up doing none of them because I can't choose one. So it's not that I'm deficient for attention, it's that I cannot regulate. I have such trouble regulating where I'm going to put my attention. We call that a deregulation of attention. It also goes for making lists of things to do and not knowing where to get started. People with attention deficit will usually choose the one that's the most fun. Usually choose the thing that they're most excited about doing, that gives them the biggest thrill, instead of maybe the thing that makes the most sense. And so a lot of the time, like, I will be stuck in my pajamas until like 11 o'clock, not because that's the kind of person I am. I'm not lazy. I've actually been doing a million things, but none of them have actually been the things that I probably should have been doing a couple hours ago in order to reach my goals in life. If you want to stay in your jammies, stay in your jammies, but that's not my intent. That's not how I intentionally want to live my life. I want to get up. I teach my classes. I do some scripture study and some personal development. I blog. I post. I podcast. I spend time with my daughters before school, then they leave and I go exercise, and I come home and I get ready and I do some more team time for my business. And I mean, I'm a very, in my mind, in my brain, in my heart of hearts, I got things down. There is nothing I cannot do. I am so organized. I live by my schedule. And in fact, in college, when it was finals time, we had this silly little, I don't know if it's a saying, but we would just be goofy and we'd say, you gotta stick to the schedule. It's just, that's the type of person that I thought that I was. But as I've gotten older, and I think I have a lot more on my plate, and I have a lot more serious, and I have a lot more responsibilities, I feel like I'm being pulled in so many directions that it's actually making it very, very difficult for me to regulate things that normally wouldn't be a big of a deal. It's kind of becoming a problem. So by thinking about this, by thinking about how I have been incorrectly viewing due to the word deficit, I can now approach my daily schedule and I can plan for success. So to give you an example, last night I was at the coffee shop for like a good, 3 hours or so. And what was I doing? I was planning out my posts. I was planning out my podcasts, and which subjects I was going to do, which photos I was going to use. So when I wake up for any day in December, it's already decided for me. It's not done for me. It's that creative process that I love to do every day. But the subject is already there. And so now I don't have to think about that and spend 45 minutes thinking about, oh, what subject am I going to talk about? Let me scroll my Instagram and see what I can get inspired about. Let me think about my day yesterday. No, it's done. So this is a helpful way to regulate where my attention is being placed. I love this journey. I hope that you guys are taking away with me that regardless of what's happening in your mind, you have the power to overcome. And there is nothing so incapacitating that your mind is doing that you cannot make at least a little progress every day, moving toward your dreams, moving toward your goals in a positive direction. So thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for uh, experiencing this awesome journey. And I'm Camden. I am living with ADD as a 36-year-old woman, mother of three, and we are navigating this together. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye.